So what we're looking at in Illustrator is the function of repeat. So we're going to go object repeat, and I'm going to go to grid. So I have my object selected, go to object repeat grid, select on it. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to put this in the corner here so you can kind of see. So right now what it does is it has these bigger kind of bars on the side allow me to size what I want to repeat this in. So right now I'm going to repeat, I'm just going to make it this whole page. So something that I already noticed is that my hexagons are too big. Not a problem, double click on it, and I'm going to make this smaller and watch as Illustrator sizes to that. Right, it resizes it, which is wonderful. So I am going to look at some of the options so I can kind of manipulate this the way that I want it. So I'm going to go to Object, Repeat, and Options. And I'm going to make sure I'm in the grid one, which I am. And you have these different grid types. Right, so this one is just straight up pattern. This one offsets a little bit. This one is my favorite, allows me to make grid patterns like this. Now, I am going to go inside of here and hit down. And so you can see I can adjust the spacing. I'm also going to hit down here. So I get the same kind of like honeycomb pattern that's there. Inside of here, these flip rows horizontally and vertically don't really do anything because my object is symmetrical. I'll show you something that I'll do with a non-symmetrical object. So I can just do OK, and there it is. As I make this smaller, you can see I can just cut off the sides if I wanted to do a repeating pattern or anything else. You can see I can do that here. Okay, so that is really great. That, you know, to do this without that, that would have taken you a really long time. So let's see. Let's take this pattern here, and I'm just going to go like this, and I'm going to duplicate it. We're going to rotate from the center, and there we have my perfectly kind of spaced out. Now, one thing that I want to do is I just want to change the colors so you can kind of just see how this would work. I'm going to kind of flip the patterns around. Right. So, select it here, and let's just make it a little smaller. And go into Object Repeat, and we're going to go to Grid. And again, I'm just going to move this along to fit my document. Right. Now I need to go into Options. So Object, Repeat, Options. We're going to go into our grid. So the grid type that I want to do, and you can see you can kind of play around with how this works here. I'm going to go into this one. And one thing to look at is now the flipped rows. So if I'm looking here at the rows, you can see I can flip them, and you can see it's flipping the color around. This one flips the color that way, right? So with these non kind of symmetrical, and it's because of the colors, you can see I can flip these in different ways if I wanted to. So if I have a pattern like this, you can see, well, I don't want to get it closer that way, but I think I do want it to be closer this way. There we go. So this allows me to get this full pattern that's there, and you'll really be able to see what the flip rows are really doing. It all depends on what you kind of want lined up here, right? So you can see the blues are pretty much following along, but when I flip, it gets a more pattern, different pattern that's there. So this is all preference, by the way, as far as what you want to do. Now I can do OK, and here I have my perfectly displayed kind of pattern that's there. And again, I can manipulate this, move this around with this. Once you're satisfied with this and you don't want to do anything else with it, you're good. You want to kind of break it free from that. You can go to Object, Object Expand. You do that, and now, right, that's kind of out of the pattern repeat. I can't do anything with the pattern repeat. What it does do is it puts it in a clipping mask. So if I did release, you can see that's like kind of the breakdown within Illustrator. So you don't necessarily have to go that far, but that's what it's doing kind of behind the scenes as you're working with it. If you ever decide this isn't for you and you really want to break this apart, last thing here, go to Object, Repeat, Release, and it releases it all and it brings it back to the original. right? Have fun with this. This is a great tool to use inside of Illustrator.